look at this beautiful, organized working surface. And I'm doing a great job keeping things organized. Honestly, I was trying to get the boring cutting part of today's work done before the stream so that you guys wouldn't have to suffer through it with me. I try to make it so that it's the highlights that go on the stream, right? That's the ideal, the perfect world we all strive for. And I almost got there. I did get the big, like, cutting part done, but I still have a couple other sort of like housekeeping things, none of which is cleaning anything. God forbid. That's not going to happen. But I was working on this a little bit last week, I think. And I'm dying to see how it turned out. This is a jig template thing for a tiling texture that I want to mold and cast so that I can have beautiful rock. Like Ashlar style castle walls and such that I can just wrap around whatever I need. And I realized after I got all these rocks in place that I hadn't even tested like the basic functionality of this. Like, it works in Photoshop, this shape works perfectly, but by the time I end up like cutting it down into all the little wood strips, gluing and screwing them all together, the chances that they're going to be as precise as the pixels in Photoshop, very low. So it occurred to me, before I go through the cost and time of molding and casting one of these, first I need to do a sanity check and just make sure, will this actually fit together? And the reason it has this particular shape is so that I can rotate it any direction and they should fit together in any direction. That way you minimize the amount of tiling that's perceptible. And so I made one of these little test pieces just by squashing clay up against the side, and now I've made my second. And that reminds me, what I forgot to do is actually determine which is the top and which is the bottom of this. Uh-oh. I think this was the top. You know, in an ideal world, it wouldn't matter because all the sides would be perfectly identical. But, like I just said, the organic nature of working in the real world with your hands and saws and stuff reduces that. One thing I thought of after I went through all the trouble of building this template was that what I probably should have done was do a 3D print. That is still not going to be 100%, but it's probably going to be a lot closer than what I ended up doing. So I may have to do that, but we're going to see. It's, for all I know, this may work absolutely perfectly. I just seriously doubt it will. This first one I did, I did not think of the idea that I did for the second, which was to coat all the tape with Vaseline so I could just pull it off relatively easily. I say that, we'll see. Will it actually be relatively easy? We will see. And it also kind of cracked and broke and pulled up a little bit of my wood because I'm using this plywood. So this is not a 100% test, but I think it's still going to be informative. like 5 or 6 X-Acto knives hanging out on the table, and the messier the table gets, the more I need to put out here so I can actually find them. I think this weekend is probably going to be my cutoff point where I'm like, okay, I gotta spend 20 minutes or half an hour just cleaning. Don't know how I ended up getting some of this plexiglass overlapping. That is not what I wanted. Something super glue can help with. Super glue to the rescue. Maybe. If I can find it. This is one that you have to cut the tip off. Okay. Mature audiences. Oh my. Is that because I cut myself last time? I had some blood. Alright, we're gonna let that set for a minute. See if we can extract this one. I wonder if I did something on my end. Not consciously. I don't have any plans of suddenly becoming very mature whilst on stream. I actually need to cut these parts off, or can I just push it down? Okay. Looks like my tape and Vaseline technique is working. Hoorah. Ta-da, and look at that, I even have all of my tape, so if I want to do this again, I can do it again. Cool. This clay, by the way, for those of you who don't know, is called Freeform Air, and it is great stuff. Very useful for a lot of different applications. It's a 2-part epoxy clay, but it's very light and very easy to carve. You know, it's not super strong, but for certain applications, that's not important. It is stronger than, say, XPS foam. In fact, I believe this was built out of it. No, this is resin. I cast several of these, so I'm... No, wait. This is not resin. What is this? Oh, I think this is Freeform Air with some epoxy sculpt mixed into it. That's what it is. reason, I'm always shocked at how many of these edges there actually are. Keep thinking, man, this has got to be the last one, and then I flip it over and there's like, there's more. There's always more. Okay, there. Good. This was not actually a Sisyphean task. It was just a long, annoying one. So there's one piece. Here's another piece, more or less. I see what I did. I put the plexi against this line, not that line. Okay, so I can only test 2 of these sides right now until I come in, I don't know, with the Dremel tool or something to cut that, but in theory, this should fit together in every direction. Pretty gappy back there. Yeah, I think to get the full confidence that I need, I'm gonna have to 3D print this. Well, again, not full confidence, higher confidence. And then I can, once I have that 3D printed template, I can set this in there in every direction and see, does it fit perfectly? If not, shave down the parts that need more work on it. All right, but today's main event is not about that. It's about something more fun. I get to finally start putting together a bunch of these pieces that I've been working on separately for weeks, months, years, decades, I don't know. It's been a hot minute. So I believe last week's stream we did this part and this part. Camera's doing that thing where it just wants to spin loosely. Loosey goosey camera. Right, so this and this, and so we need to do this back wall, and I want to do the front thing, which is what I was hurriedly cutting earlier. That and the other piece, right here. Looks about right. And all our individual chunks we got here. And they're going to be tiled bloop, 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 with a sort of capstone over the top, which I haven't determined exactly what that's going to be yet. But there will be some room for it. Yeah, looks like about ½ an inch. It'll be fine. Trying to think if there's any reason not to glue all this stuff together yet. Don't think so. I just thought of a reason, because I do need to do, I do need to do the ceiling of that down there. But I think this is all going to hold together as a piece. It's not going to be hard. It's a pretty simple ceiling. So I'm just going to go ahead and tack it together lightly. Got a bag of black hot glue gun, but I think it only works in high temp guns, which I don't think I have a small caliber high temp glue gun. I'm gonna have to look into that. But I like the idea of black a lot better because A, if it's like between a crack that's not completely closed, and you're putting down your black base coat, sometimes it's really hard to like jam it down into the crevice. I think you can imagine if this was glued together and there was just that little gap and you could see the glue inside, like if it's the transparent glue, quite often you see these little glimmers, and I don't know. If it's black, it's still gonna be shiny, but it's gonna be blend in better with the base coat and washes and stuff. Does that actually make it worth the additional price? Probably not. And what I'm thinking is that I want to do between, so I'm going to have these little panels, and then between them, that basically, so they can be flanked by this pattern. I think I'm gonna need these ones to stick out a little bit further so that this looks more like a carved in inset, especially since they have like just a little bit of curve to them and they're uneven. Different ones have different amounts of thickness. So if this has a strip that sticks out a little bit further, I'll do the trick. I just gotta figure out what's the easiest way to do a little extendo strip. I think I might have a sticky strip thing that is about that thickness. Let me check. And if I have to, I can just cut down some foam to do that. I do have these little like matchstick looking guys. I can maybe use, but it's probably, it's probably better just to put them on a thing like that. Because then there's really no limit to how thick I can make it then. Okay. So a little more cutting. I don't want to do cutting, but it shouldn't be much. It just needs to be sort of one strip, and then I can easily cut that to however many little pieces I need. I'm trying to figure out if that's perfectly straight or not. Guess it's probably straight enough. No, I do not think that's straight. 9. I'm digging around through scraps. I really don't need to. I have like a million pieces out there that I'm sure have the straight factory edge. So let me grab one of those real quick. forgot I have a ruler built right into that, so I should just look at that number. After a quarter, an eighth, so that'd be 1, 2, 3/8. That's a quarter. The problem is the melt is also going to knock down the size a bit, so I might have to do a strip or two to get it exactly right. A little closer. This guide thing is really terrible. Need to build a better one. That one's just slightly too thin, naturally. Close enough to just right. spacers acquired. Now, do I want to put one thing in the middle, or do I want to put a spacer in the middle? I feel like spacer is probably the safer way to go. Just under 4 inches. That's unfortunate. There's one thingy under 4 inches. I guess that's fine. I'll bet it's a perfect round number in centimeters though. Me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I've got backups that are close enough to the right size. I feel like I can just start winging it. Gotcha. Now, better to glue these on first and then onto the thing, or glue this at thing and then that on. I'm gonna say better to go this way because it'll be easier to kind of space my bits the way I want them. So I do want to make sure that I have the ones that are made of freeform air on in the middle, because those are the ones that I can kind of snap in interesting ways. Of course, these don't do divide by 2 perfectly, although I wonder if I put a small gap at the top, if the there, that gives me the option to do like a cross thing, like so. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll cut these into 2s. They are. What a size these are. 7 1/4. Why? That better be something good in centimeters. It's 18.5 centimeters. What? Who chose the size? Oh my god. Okay, well, half of 7 is 3.5. Half of 1/4 is 1/8. So 3.5 and 1/8 would be 3.5 and 1/8 right there. Okay, so through this guy, just to double check, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, this is indeed the right place to cut it. Fine. Trying really hard not to overthink. Sometimes it's great to overthink. Sometimes your project is just dragging on and on. It's time to stop overthinking. Why does these are not as even as I had thought they were. Interesting. So each of these is going to yield 2, meaning that I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Okay. I think that means I have more than enough. But I am no math magician. So do not take my word for it. What that means is that I can focus on the ones that I want the most first, which are the ones that I did with the freeform air. Again, because they can fracture like real stone better, so I can, like happened here, right? I could snap them and like glue them back together, and they'll have that nice little fine crack look. Start with these and see if we need more. I need to be thinking about at this point, because I'm starting to lay out the features that actually need to have the like fracturing across them. I need to start thinking about where I want these cracks to be, and I think I'm pretty sure the flow goes this way. Let me double check. If I get this wrong, that would be really bad. Okay, whew, I was right. Basically, I'm trying to think like where would be cool places for these lines to sort of show up, cracking across the features here. Since I already put that in place, I'll just avoid that one, and it's fine. But for this next one, I'm gonna say, if it's gonna be here, I'm gonna want to crack it approximately, you know, like so. That part's probably going to be covered up, but you know, roughly along there, and I can sort of get that started. And if you haven't been following along, the reason I'm doing this is because in the ruins that I'm building this off of, Shadow of the Colossus, in case you didn't know, this is from the game Shadow of the Colossus. This whole area is carved out from a rock cliff, right? And so in rock carved ruins, you usually have fractures through the rock over time. Now the way they built the rock in this update of the game, it's very sort of kludgy, omnidirectional. The way I'm building it is a little more stratified, so I'm going to have cracks running through these rocks that then also need to run through the ruins in order to be convincing that these ruins were carved out of the rock. So, yeah, so as long as I can follow these lines all the way through the ruins into the rocks and vice versa, it should be all good. Use super glue instead of hot glue to get these parts back together, so that I don't accidentally have hot glue blobs poking through. I need to crack about trying to think if I want to glue it down first or do the fracture and then glue. I think fracture first on this first one. I'll have a little more control that way.
I don't know the exact scale. I know if Wander stands up, he's about 4 inches tall.
One thing I'm not sure about is when people carve out from a cliffside and they, have these kind of joints between the rocks. Do they fill those with plaster? Because I don't think you're ever going to be able to carve into a large enough to make a building and not run into these kind of joints. Something I should research. I'm not even sure how I would research that. minor miracle I haven't cut off the tip of my pinky doing that. Speaking of cutting the tip off of things, oh, I forgot I already have this one. 5/100ths or 1/20th scale. That sounds right. I appreciate you doing the math, because I never would do that. I mean, I could try, but I would definitely fail. I don't feel like Wander is a 6-foot tall guy. I mean, he could be. He's kind of gangly, but like that horse feels like it's twice as tall as you. And granted, it could be a giant horse, but I don't know. He just strikes me more like a 5'5" guy, more than a 6-foot guy. But you know, since I'm not even sure he's 4 feet or 4 inches tall, since I sculpted him all hunched over, stabbing the Colossus, I honestly have no idea. Major Ann's ball. If by these you mean these little carved bits, I just spent forever making them. This is the original that I sculpted out of epoxy clay, and then I made a mold of 1/3 of it, stamped it over the rest of the column there, and then filled that mold with epoxy clay, and it's kind of a C-shaped mold, but then I squashed it down between 2 boards for each one, and that made them flat enough to be able to pull apart. These particular guys are just from fondant molds that I poured either resin or epoxy clay into, well, pressed epoxy clay into. And then this guy here is a combination of a bunch of things. A lot of patterns, again, I pulled from fondant molds. Yeah, little jewel bits, etc. Just a bunch of hodgepodging things together. You haven't done the mold making stuff yet? Bing says Wander is 5'7". Okay, good to know. So I was close with the 5'5" guy. Major Ann's ball. You should check out my YouTube channel, Josh Foreman. I've got a mold making tutorial that could maybe help you out. Also, lots of sculpting tutorials on there as well. "4 feet 1 inch in game?" What? What are you talking about? as in like the game scale that they use, he ends up being 4 foot. Like, I would guess that's what that means. Like, if their units are set up in such a, like, all games seem to have different units to them. One of the reasons why it's kind of silly when they compare world sizes in different games. But that's weird. But it sounds like canonically he's supposed to be 5'7". That's the important part. Oh, okay. So compared to other objects, yeah. I mean, game scale in general, especially in environment art and stuff, there's so much wing in it. Like, they are never precise unless the mechanics demand precision, but very few games do. Is that blog what is that called? There is the go-to blog for all things Shadow of the Colossus, and I asked that guy for help when I started the project, and he gave me a bunch of models through the debugger, a bunch of screenshots of the T-pose of the Colossus and Wander and stuff. Why can't I remember the name? He's got a YouTube channel too. Yes, Nomad, that's the one. No links allowed. Looks like we're coming up on our time, so Quindy, if you want to cue us up to go visit a fun artist or artiste, your call. I could go for artist or artiste, maybe even a crafts person. I'm not picky. In the meantime, I've been Josh Foreman. Links are out there. Follow me on the Instagram. Buy my book on Amazon. Buy both of my books on Amazon. Just do it. Just take a gamble. Buy both of them assuming that you're gonna love them so much that when you finish the first one, you're gonna instantly want to read the second one. This has happened before. All right, see you guys all later. Bye.